Good morning, sirs. That was a nice rendition. I wish that we'll just sing this all through today, then we'll go home. But this morning, brethren, we are not for us to teach ourselves, thanking God first for the enablement, even for the ability to be here this morning to study His words. I don't have anything new for us this morning. Rather, we'll be going through something in order to understand more, and where there is good for us to get to contributions and questions or clarifications. Please feel free to do that. We've taken our text this morning from Proverbs chapter 3 from verse 5 through to 6. Proverbs chapter 3 from verse 5 through to 6. It's also my desire this morning not to rush. Possibly, we'll be taking it from the slide, depending on our time. I read. Trust in the Lord with all your hearts, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will make your paths straight. The focus of this passage we are read this morning is in your own understanding. In my own understanding. In our issues of life as relates to people, fellow Christians out there, we may try to understand ourselves based on the way we perceive things, based on the way we assume things. Therefore, human understanding, no doubt, is limited to available information we have at a particular point in time. We trust our assumptions, we trust our perceptions, even without seeking the right or investigate into issues first before we raise alarm. This morning, take us to our topic of this morning that says, dangers of assumptions in a Christian life. What's our topic? If you look at the passage this morning, the key word for us here has to do with dangers. What are the risks associated with assumptions? We all know what assumption is. We also get to know more about it, and we know who a Christian is. Not necessarily for Christians this time around, even as we relate to other people in the secular world. We relate it among ourselves. We try as much as possible to also relate it to people that we interact with, because we are always exposed to other people. This is going to be our outline in the course of this lesson this morning. We're looking at what are assumptions. We look at real life examples of assumptions between two Christians. It can be me, it can be you, or outside. We take few practical examples of assumptions in the Bible. We then dwell into the dangers of assumptions in man-to-man relationship. What are the risks if I assume something about Bro Glasson when it is not true? Dangers of assumptions in man-to-man relationship. We see if we are going to see how we can overcome assumptions, and possibly we conclude. I start with what are assumptions. The matter is, in order to keep us alive and carry us along, I always like to ask my audience questions. What are assumptions? If you have any attempt, please feel free to raise up your hand or let us know what you feel is an assumption for us to have a background for what we're studying this morning. Voluntary. Are you with me? Yes. In your own words, what do you think are assumptions?
Assumptions is something I cannot show. Sure.
God bless you. Something you are not what? Sure of, but you believe in it. What in your own words do you think are assumptions? Misconceptions that may not be what? True. Let's go to our presentation. Believing something is true when you don't have enough what? Facts or understanding. That's a misconception. The things I accept or I believe, I think is correct about Brother Joseph without doing any investigation, but in fact they are what? Wrong. That is what? Assumption. I've accepted that a sister is this or a sister is this, a sister is this because of information, because of things I may have heard or I may have known about a sister or anything. But within us or within the sister, this is not what? True. That is what? Assumption. Something you accept as true without questioning that position, without investigation, or without proof. You may also have believed something about me. You may have assumed something about anybody here, but you don't have proof or fact to substantiate whatever thing you feel about that person. That situation is what? We are assuming something that is not true. It's an assertion or statement that is taken true or supposed as a fact without proof or substantiated evidence about that particular thing. I ask us a question, brethren. Have you ever assumed something about someone and later found out we are wrong? Have you ever assumed something about, it could be here, it might be in your working place, it might be where you live, wherever your business places, you assume something that this person is so. But when you find out that it is wrong, how do you feel? These are situations we face in our daily lives, in the church, wherever we find ourselves. But this morning, we are going to look at the dangers associated with such assumptions and how we can feel or how we can overcome it. It says, have you ever assumed something about someone and later find out we are wrong? How do you feel? That's the question I have for you this morning. Believing without proof is rooted in fear and pride. Brethren, no doubt, because we are assuming something that is wrong about me or about somebody, about anywhere, that tendency that it may lead to what? Broken what? Broken what? Broken what? Please, you have to follow me. I'm not the only one doing the teaching. Let's collectively carry us along because I don't want anyone to sleep. Assumptions is believing without what? Without what? Who is not seeing? If you are not seeing here, you can also see that. I mean, or we can bring something to you. Assumption and what? Believing without what? Rooted in what? Fear and then pride that can lead to what? Broken trust. I believe something is not true because of fear I have for that person or anything, or I have a lot of knowledge about the particular issue. This can then lead to what? Broken trust. Why are assumptions dangerous? Have you ever asked yourself? Why are they dangerous? Because at times it turns out to be false. I assume something about broken man, but it is not the real thing because what? I don't have facts. Because I don't have evidence to substantiate what I feel about him. It twists the truth and create divisions where unity should what? Flourish. It brings conflict, miscommunication, unnecessary confrontation, a hindered growth, and spiritual maturity and unity in the body of Christ are blocked when we judge or when we assume without what having enough evidence or knowledge, even within the church or wherever we find ourselves. Therefore, there's need for us at any point in time always try to person to get the fast before you assume something about somebody. Therefore, this morning, brethren, we are going to emphasize that there's need for us not to always jump into conclusions when we don't have facts within our hands. We will have proof about something. So brother is this. If they ask you to come and explain what you are saying about that brother, will you be able to say it? We are going to look at some examples of assumptions between two Christians or two human beings that I know that will happen in the past. First, I don't know if many of us have been involved in this. I'm coming to church and you're coming to church. I pass you. Possibly, I didn't greet you. Brethren, what will be going in your mind? What will go in your mind? I saw Brother, I'm about is coming. Me, I'm coming. I just pass him. He might not be coming to church. Anywhere I see him, what will be going in your mind, brethren? You do what? You call the person. But some people will pick up offense and say, see now, he didn't greet me. He feeling. Therefore, if I say he's angry with me or he's a bad person, he's too big, he cannot do it any longer. The question is, the person may have been distracted, or there's something that is stopping that person, or the person may not have even what seeing you. What are you supposed to do? Bro, Finecountry, you just pass me now without me what? Waiting me. What happened? He'll be able, bro, I'm very what? Sorry, I didn't even see you. But some people will do what? This man, you don't become big man now. No, you don't do it again. And because of that, you start noticing things that are not good against that particular brethren. Because of what? Assumption. You are taking a message of faith. You become closeness in relationship with the person, I know the person, information with the person. But no what God says 18:37. Asking before understanding is what? Fully. You don't ask because you don't have that fact. Because you have assumed that that person is now a big man, he cannot greet. Or that person is too proud, he will not greet it. Because based on that assumption, you start doing what? You start acting. Has that happened to any of us here? Has this happened to any of us here? Yes. Silence is often assumed as attitude, but it may be that somebody is struggling with something. Let us look at the next example. This is very, very, very rampant, even among us here. A leader or the preacher corrects you for something that you did or whatever. What will be your conclusion? What will be your conclusion? They dislike what? Me. They don't want to do what? They want to do what? Control me. They don't want me in this church any longer. Why? Because somebody is doing what? Is correcting you. That is what? Assumption. Is this happening here? Yeah. Nothing is bad in asking you to ask the person, sir, this thing you are telling me, can we discuss it? Can we think about it? Because correction that is being given to you is meant for you to grow, both physically, socially, otherwise, and spiritually. Therefore, the correction was meant to help growth and not to undermine you or not to tell you that you don't know anything, but rather, the fact now is that When they ask you for anything, you say, I will not do again. The one I said before, they corrected me. If when they give you assignment, you say what? You say, I will not do. Is it happening here? Yes. You now become resistant to correction. You become resistant to accountability. You become resistant even to fellowship. It can as well lead to broken trust. Let's look at Proverbs chapter 27, verse 6. Faithful are the wounds of what? A friend. It's a friend that will correct you and put you in right perspectives. This is very important here for us here. A brother, a sister, a family makes church, or they are backsliding for one reason or the other, or stop attending services regularly. What is always the assumption as a brother, as a teacher, as a leader, or as a sister? We just there and then we conclude what they are what they are spiritually weak. They don't want to come to church again. That is why they are no more coming to church. That is what assumption. What did you do as a sister? What did you do as a brother? What did you do as a friend? It says they may be struggling with some health issues. There can be some burnout issues or the personal crisis. It's good to do what? To investigate and find out what? Why. Before you draw your conclusion, before you come up with an assumption that is going to lead to what? Loss of spot, or you're judging that person wrongly. The Bible tells us in Galatians chapter 6, 1 to 2, that if anybody is erring, that we should restore what? Gently. You have an idea in the church. Very good idea. But your proposal or whatever you're bringing up is questioned. What you are going to assume is what? They are opposing me. Therefore, I won't bring up any idea again. Let them go. I'm not going to suggest anything again because what you feel or you assume that they are opposing you in what church. No, that should not be the situation because when you seek clarity or wisdom, you can do what? You can have a better planning. But most times, when we are faced with this, we may feel that they are questioning you. This can start leading to division in the church or pride and defensiveness and things like that. No, we should always accept clarity and wisdom and better planning. This few have just identified some of the real examples that existed or that exist even within Christians as examples of real life assumption cases. I also know that within you in our homes, there will be some. You have called somebody, your husband went to work. You have called him, he didn't pick his call or her call or your spouse. You have concluded he doesn't want to pick my call. Do you know the reason why that call is not picked at that point in time? It's always good to do what? Ask. What it is. He's coming in late. As he came in late, unusually, that at the end then, what will do what? Start. Did you ask and ask, why are you late today? Or it's just for you to assume and pick whatever as at that time. There are many issues of assumption that exist among us, especially in our homes, in the church. That is real life cases. Let us look at some practical examples of assumptions, one or two, then we'll go ahead because of our time. Look at the case of Eli and Hannah. We all know the story. Do you know the story? Do you know the story of Eli and Hannah? Brother, do we know the story? We don't watch the story. In 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 14. Can we get there? Open our Bible, 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 14. Here is Anna praying to God, silently and quietly, and his lips is moving. And her lips are moving, sorry. Pouring out her mind in anguish before God because of the problem she's faced at that point in time. But what was Eli's assumption when Eli saw her praying? First Samuel chapter 1 verse 2. He said, let me read from here. He says what?
So Eli said to her, how long will you be drunk? Put your wine away from you. And Hannah answered and said, no, my Lord, I am a woman of sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor intoxicating drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord.
Thank you. She's praying to God for that is the stopping or action of her. But Eli said, how long will you put off wine? From because we know you are what? Drunk. This is an assumption of Eli, which Eli made against her. But we all know that is not the position. But rather, she was deeply stressed and prayed earnestly to God. The incidents here underscores the danger of judging based on what? Appearance. Today we judge people or we condemn people based on what? Their appearance, without asking or seeking or investigating to know the right thing that's happening at any point in time. That's 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 14. How about Job's friends when they came to visit him? In Job 42 verse 7, in Job 4 7 to 8, 5 1 to 7, 8 20 books for Eliphaz, for Bildad, and for Zophar. They all thought that the sickness of Job is as a result of what? His sin against who? God. That is an assumption that was made by his friends. But we all know what God says in Job chapter 2 verse 3 about this says, have you considered my servant Job, that there is no one like him on the earth, a blameless and what? An upright man, who fears God and turns away from what? Evil. He still holds fast his integrity, although he incited me against him to destroy him without reason. This is also an assumption that the first made without having or without knowing the right information about Job at that point in time. Brethren, our assumptions about others or trials can deeply wrong and profoundly be harmful. Somebody is facing trial or anything or temptation, you just conclude what you don't know about without having the right information or the right fact about that person. Assumption hurts deeply, especially false assumptions hurt deeply, because it brings pain and suffering to that person that is involved at any point in time. If you also look at the book of David, 2 Samuel chapter 10, a case of David and Hannon, we are going to look at it. The next slide. 2 Samuel chapter 10 verse 1. And it came to pass after this, that the king of children of Ammon died, and Hannon his son reigned in his stead. 2. Then said David, I will show kindness unto Hannon the son of Hanash, as his father showed kindness unto me. And David sent to comfort him by the hand of his servants for his father, and David's servants came into the land of the children of Ammon. He has sent his team to go and comfort them. 3. The princes of the children of Ammon said unto Hannon their lord, thinkest thou that David doth honor thy father, that he has sent comforters unto thee? Have not David rather sent his servants unto thee to search the city, and to spy it, and to overthrow it? What is this? Assumption. He's coming to pay condolence with the team. But the princess is now saying, are you sure he's coming to pay Oh, it's not coming to do what? To spy us and do what? And have intelligence about us to kill us. And because of that, what did they do? Therefore, Haman took David's servants and shaved all the 1.5 of their belts, and cut off their garment in the middle, even to their buttoes, and sent them what? Away. Some people that came to do condolence on a clean slate, not have anything at the back of their mind. Because of assumptions which came up through the princess, they did what? They had to what? Shave all their belts and send them back. If you read down, you see what happened when David saw them, and it brought a serious war between the two countries. Therefore, assumption can escalate situations into unnecessary destructive conflict when good intentions are misread. And they have good intention about you, but because of your feeling, because of your assumptions, that can mean another thing entirely, and it may destroy relationship and also escalate situations which might not necessarily be managed at the end of the day. But then, the main foot causes of assumptions are our sin, pride and self-trust, the fear of the unknown, lack of information, and confusion method with motives. Because our visions are highly limited, then we are called to wait and God perfect. Having made all this, we have looked at these examples, real life examples. We can also come up with another example, or we have also looked at biblical examples. There are many other ones we can look at a common time. What are the dangers of assumption in man-to-man relationship? Man-to-man here has to do with how will assumption affect me and Bro Obinna? How will assumption affect me with a sister here or a brother here? One, it can cause misunderstanding and what? Conflict. Three of us. It can cause misunderstanding and conflict. Then we assume instead of asking, we misinterpret intentions, or we misinterpret actions, or misinterpret things that are not correct to be correct. It can lead to misunderstanding and conflict, even among us as a church, wherever we find ourselves. Hebrews 18:13 says, he who answers a matter before he hears it is a fool and shame to him. Let us investigate and let us ask questions. Therefore, when you listen and ask questions, it will prevent unnecessary conflict. It also leads to unjust judgments. We judge people based on appearances. In the case of Anna and Elijah, rumors or past experiences. Can't you get the facts right? What does it take for us to investigate? What does it take to examine the facts that are on ground about that particular issue or that perception before we can jump into conclusion or conclude? Judgments that they may not be judged. Wrong judgments damage what? Trust and what? Relationships. It damages trust and relationships. Therefore, we must at any point in time not be faced with unjust assumption. It destroys trust and unity among the saints, can lead to suspicion, can lead to gossip, can lead to division. It requires truth and not assumption. Assumptions create offense and what? Bitterness among the children of God. But when assumptions go unaddressed, they go into resentment. Unresolved assumptions can do what? Can eternally poison what? Relationships. Because you already have that mindset, which is wrong, or assumption, or position, or perception about somebody, your relationship with that person at any point in time will what? Will be highly what? Unresolved. There's nothing good whatsoever that you're going to find out among that person. The preacher is not putting you into roster or what for everything that you feel. You just conclude, preacher does not like me. You do approach him and ask him, sir, I've observed for some time now, you don't put my name or my name is not apparent roster. You just do what will you do? You just do what? Conclude. You now start looking for other things you will do to bring issues to the church. Let us investigate and examine ourselves, because assumption creates offense and bitterness. Even among, at times it can lead to lack of love and compassion, and it can turn friends into enemies. It can turn Christians to people that does not like God. That is from man to man. How about relationship between man and God? When you assume things about God, it can lead to what? It can lead to what? It can lead to what? Follow me. Disobedience often begins with wrongful belief about God's commands. Yeah, we also people obey their interpretation of God's instruction. Our wrong assumption produces sincere but misguided obedience, because you feel that what is there is not correct. It weakens the faith and trust that we have in God, and also creates fear and distance us from God, because we feel that we have arrived. It limits our spiritual growth as children of God, because when we already assume that we already know God, it prevents us from even going to evaluate more and more about ourselves. What did Hosea chapter 4 verse 6 say? Brethren, we are reading together. Brethren, we are reading together. For those who are sleeping, we are reading together. I'm looking at our lips. Hosea chapter 4 verse 6. We are reading together. Let's go. 1, 2, go. Thank you. Lack of what? Knowledge is the key point here. We have assumed, and you don't have lack of knowledge, it can limit your spiritual growth, your spiritual maturity as a child. Therefore, let us always seek knowledge at any point in time. The core dangers of assumption here for me is because truth and understanding harms relationship among the saints or wherever we find ourselves. Because of assumption, it leads to wrong actions. You can start taking wrong action about that person because of what? What you already perceive or your assumption about that particular person. It creates blind spots. It forces judgment and division. Believing assumptions about others creates judgment. Then, how can I overcome assumption? Is it possible? It's possible for us to overcome assumption. You don't need to assume what you don't know about. What do you do, brethren? Number one is what? Number one is what? Ask question. Nobody will kill you. Well, that's Yama Infusion. That's in Igbo. Person that ask question does not lose road. A brother is behaving somehow to me. Brother, Finecountry. What have I done to you? Is there anywhere I've done anything wrong? But sorry, bro. I'm very sorry. I don't even know what I was doing. Instead of it to assume within you that what this person, you don't like me again. The same times ask a couple examples. How? Seek reasons. Why? To understand someone's heart and what perspective. Brethren, tell your fellow brother beside you, ask question. Say ask question. What mean the ask question? And not just to assume or to put it in the back of your mind, because it affects relationship. Two, go to the source. Go to who? If you are troubled by something, or if you are troubled by anybody, if there's something that is troubling you about somebody or anywhere, any situation, condition, any circumstance in may affect yourself, you say, oh, go to the source. Go directly to the person involved, rather than what? Spreading rumors and what? Gossip. Go straight to the person that is involved. Instead of what? Spreading rumors. Did you hear they say, but the person is talking about it, but which one is person? Why can't you go to the information? See, they say you do this one, though. Then if you go to Bro Joseph, from Joseph, go to another sister, which one is sister, and which one is there, and you see him every day. Then go to the source. The source is within you. Go to him, go to her, and deal with it, and that will solve the problem. Next, seek what? Seek what? Truth. Be committed to finding factual verified information rather than relying on hearsay or personal word basis. Hearsay spoil things. It is not good for us to rely on hearsay. Cultivate humility. When you are doing this, it's not the time for you to do what? To be proud. Rubbish one. What is it that you do? No. In humility, you will get whatever thing they want. Look with God's eye, carry possessions of full self-esteem, fear and show others through the lens of grace, even among believers. But then, the issue of asking question on what, how, why are simple questions that can prevent countless misunderstandings among friends, among brothers, among marriages, among work colleagues, among business partners, and what? Broken what? Relationships. The point of answers of assuming is very key. The Bible says in James chapter 1, verse 19, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Proverbs 18:13 says, to answer before listening as a fully. Go straight to the heart of assumption making. When we respond before we are truly listened and understood, we act foolishly and bring shame upon ourselves. It requires wisdom. It requires taking time to hear first before forming judgments and drawing what? Conclusions or assumptions. Especially it brings conflict if they are not addressed. In conclusion, my brethren, let me this point examine your assumptions. You may have assumed so many things about me. You may have assumed so many things about your brother, about your work colleague, about your business partner, or whoever that is involved at any point in time, even within your own environment, their neighbors, their friends. Examine your assumptions, take time to reflect on those assumptions in your daily life. Are there any decisions that may not be accurate? Please ask questions. How? What? And why? See the truth and challenge the assumptions. When you hear someone making an assumption, don't be afraid. Challenge it. Let the person go to you and ask you questions. Practice empathy. It's very key. Instead of making assumptions about other person's intentions, try to put yourself in that person's shoe and practice empathy. This can help you understand their perspective and avoid misunderstanding. Let's go off all assumptions that are not correct in our life, that are no longer serving you. Ask me the person, hold on to identical assumptions can prevent you from growing and learning. By letting go of these assumptions, seeking good information about that particular person, that brother, that friend, that relationship, or anything whatsoever, can open yourself up to new experiences and perspectives that you may need to know about that person. And allows you free from assembling assumptions, so people we are free from life and we live to victory. Thank you for your listening. Thank you for your attention. I know there will be some clarifications or some questions. May God bless us. Let we have learned this morning in Jesus' name.